What's going on, guys? I got another video for you today. We are 2 for 2 on the Darth Vader lightsabers. That was my last video, and then that is this one, or this one might get uploaded first, who knows. So this one I have installed a lot. If you've seen the other video, I talked about how I hadn't installed the MPP before. But this is a DV6, so it's a pretty standard, straightforward install. With an awesome saber stand that I designed myself, which you can get any logo you want on it, and this fits the grips perfectly. I'm going to just plug my own, my own shop. But anyways, so a couple things. Like I said, pretty straightforward install. The customer did make a cool request that I never noticed beforehand, is that on the actual prop, these are one's straight up and down, the other one's horizontal like this, and so I never noticed that, so I installed them correctly. But aside from that, it's has the accurately weathered, or not weathered, but painted emitter that I did myself, just spray painted and then clear coated. And that's it. So this is a Proffie install. Proffie, I always call it Proffie, but I guess it is Proffie. So this does have a Proffieboard inside of it. This is my first full commissioned one. I've done personal ones, I've done repairs on some, but this is my first full commissioned one, and the customer made it nice and easy for me, and he requested all stock fonts and settings, so it made my life extremely easy to plug, play, and upload some stock fonts. So that made life nice. So a couple notes for the customer is that your blade retention screw is this guy right here, and I've done it 2 different ways in the past, where I've either when you unscrew this entire black piece moves down, and there's a screw hole right here. You can get a screw and always put it in there and hold the blade, but I like to use this, and what I do is I take a little piece of tape and I just wrap it around the very end of this screw closest towards the handle, or the thumb screw part of it, so that it puts a little tension between this screw and this, but it also can compress so that it holds this piece in place and can hold the blade in place. Just my way of doing it. If the tape ever comes off, you just cut like a really thin sliver and just wrap it around a few times and tighten it. Real easy, but I've had it and I've never had issues with it beforehand. And I always toss just a slight dab of glue so it doesn't come off. Other note is that with the DV6, it's always, these buttons are always getting stuck, and I sanded them down a little bit so they should sit real nice. But if they ever do get stuck when you're doing the action, then you can just take an Allen wrench in here and loosen that screw right there, and then these will loosen up and then you tighten it back down. So I don't make it insanely tight, I just make it tight enough where it holds everything nice and snug in place. So that's my only recommendation. So it's out of the way, let's get it booted up. Just take off the pommel, so much easier than the MPP. There is your board. And so a couple issues that I had was that the Proffie holder that you can buy off of Shapeways doesn't fit with this chassis. I don't know why, but it doesn't. It doesn't fit with the adapter that Darth Rio does. So what I ended up doing was designing and printing out my own piece that follows the curvature of the bottom of this. So it sits in here nice and flush, and it did allow, let me get something to point at it with. There's no power to this, so I can't short it. It allowed wires to be run through here, so you have your data line under here, then your switches and your switch negative that bridges. And so I made it so that there were access points to allow the different wires to be run. And then underneath this, I do have a two-sided, not the tape, but the foam, the two-sided foam, that if you ever need to get into this, you can lift this up. I'm not going to do it because the more you do it, the less sticky it gets, and you can always replace it. And then this also is snug fit, so you can always just snug fit it if you want to. It's very much up to you. But yeah, so you can always just lift this up, get access to the SD card and to your micro SD port, or is it micro USB, not SD. Micro SD card, micro USB. Got it. But yeah, so like I said, aside from that, it was a pretty easy install. I'm still getting used to this. I think that, I mean, I hate how small the pads are. That can be kind of a pain. But overall, it was a relatively easy install, pretty straightforward. And yeah, you have your 2 buttons there, obviously. And then you have your kill key in the side here, which, and then you have a 28mm WoW speaker, which is it's the railway ones, and I have one here, which I just learned about these recently. But they're pretty awesome. They're actually easier to install because of the way that it's all set up, and then I like it has like foaming padding, which you can pull off, but it kind of, if you get up against the bottom of a Saber, it helps seal the sound and make it sound really nice. Anyways, enough rambling. Oh, and this is a Neopixel hilt. So, pop your kill key. I'm trying to remember which buttons do what. I did notice, I talked to the customer, that they do have to, they're going to adjust all the sensitivity settings. So right now, if I were to turn this on, as it is, you get some false swings, but as soon as you put the pommel on, because it changes the way the vibrations run through the hilt, then you don't have that issue anymore, which is nice. So I'll do that, get that nice and lined up. Which one is it? Oh, there it is. So that's one. And then, like I said, you can just run through the fonts. Oops.
Smooth Jedi. Smooth gray. Smooth fuzz.
So I'm going to pop a blade in here, which is, normally I have the smaller blades ready to go, but this one I do not have a 7/8 version, so I am going to have to use a full-size blade, which is kind of a pain in the rear end, but it is what it is. So take that here. So I'm going to put it up against my chest, just make sure the blade is in all the way. And then tighten that thumb screw nice and tight. And then you can, there you go. And like I said, you do have that retract, trying to get a lot of it in, so.
Teensy.
Just go to random font. It's like basically a white blade, maybe a very, very light blue. On the camera, it looks really blue, but should go to a couple different things before I show stuff off.
Smooth Jedi.
So that's just like a green and white flickering one.
Smooth gray.
It's a nice purple blade, which is cool. So I'll kind of show stuff off with this, but try to get it all in the camera. So, and then I believe it's, you can press and hold, you can, oops, mute it. So on, there we go.
Smooth fuzz.
This is kind of cool because it is a gradient blade. It goes from red to blue here, which is kind of cool. I've actually never seen that before, so it's actually really awesome. Like I said, this is all stock settings, so I do know that some things, they're not screwy, but some things kind of go weird with some of the settings, and it all depends on how you set it up. But again, the customer wanted it stock, so we did that. Oops.
Rogue Commander.
This one does not. Oh, there it is. So you can also play music or sounds with it. I don't even know what the hell this is. So, I mean, there's so much. Wow. Okay, so you know what? I'll do it. Fine. Didn't know this, but obviously it's Pride Month, so go Pride. I wasn't planning on this thing coming on because I didn't know that this was one of the preset things. But it's extremely mesmerizing, so I'm going to shut this off. Anyways, so like I said, you can just go through all these different things, but nope, I am not having a strobe light give me a seizure. Anyways, I'm not going to go through all these. There's so many different ones you can go through and stuff like that. So like I said, this is just one of many things, but yeah, it's a little bit harder to show off the features on this when it's stock because there's so many random things in there. So I apologize, this video was a little bit more of a babbling video. But yeah, let me just try and get a little bit of
Teensy.
the smooth swing in there.
Smooth Jedi.
Teensy.
So you can kind of hear it. I'm not going to go through all that. There's just so much to go through with it. But yeah, so that is this saber. I'm going to just take off the blade so I can, what you call it? So I can take this, get this here, pull that out. And like I said, now this piece is loose. And then as soon as you tighten this down, you're fine. Yeah, so after that, you're golden. So like I said, this is first commission Proffieboard install. Again, I love the board. It's such a cool thing. I'm very excited to see what different people have for this in stock. Plector Labs, I know, is coming out with the CFX soon. Hopefully soon. And then some different things. So like I said, I'm really pumped to see this and where this technology goes. So, like I said, thanks for tuning in. I know it's been a while, so there should be some more frequent updates. I got a lot going on. A lot of sabers on the bench ready to go. So, yeah, I'll talk to you guys later on.